When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Three unqualified morons with microphones. This is the previously recorded podcast.
Yeehaw! Why don't we get started on this Back to the Future rewatch? I'm your host, RP, as always, and welcome down to the Western Wild, hay stacking, clock ticking, gun making, spit toting, cowboy watching podcast. What's up, guys? How you doing?
That was a roller coaster.
I was not ready for that.
Neither was I. I did not plan that.
It showed.
But welcome to Back to the Future Part 3. We are here finishing up the trilogy with the wildest Western boys on the...
We saved the best for last.
You guys are not Western boys. You haven't been
I like Westerns.
past the Mississippi.
Yes.
Oh, you mean like actually? Okay, I thought you meant like the movies. But I like movie Westerns.
I don't know if I do. I don't know if I like Western movies.
I don't really like
I can't name any, but if I walk in a room and it's on, I'm sitting down and I'm watching it.
That's a very like Jersey Zoolander.
Yes.
Where Hansel, they're talking about Sting, and he's like, I don't listen to his music, but the fact that he makes it, I appreciate that. That's how you just reacted to Westerns. I don't know any of them by name, but if they exist, and I like think that that's pretty cool.
Well, I know one for sure, Back to the Future Part 3, which is a perfect segue, but I'm going to bring it back. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is on my list. Apparently that's a Western, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that forever. I think it's free on like HBO or Prime or something too. We just never got around to it.
Yeah, it's crazy Clint Eastwood's in this movie too. But
yeah, rest in peace.
Dude, Clint Eastwood, they mentioned him in Turtles 3. I was just watching the other day too.
Also a time travel movie.
It is a time travel. Yes, this is true. The words you speak are true.
Thank you.
I haven't seen that. Did they use the DeLorean also?
No, they use a scepter.
It's not as cool.
Not as cool.
Little different than that.
Does the scepter have a Lego set?
Probably got like Mega Blocks, if we're being honest.
Do they have to hold the scepter and then run 88 miles per hour?
No, but when they swap places with people. So when they swap places, they also swap clothing. So the turtles all wear clothes so that they don't have somebody naked.
And hopefully you didn't swap out your headphones. And you're still listening to this episode of Previously Recorded, where we are discussing the final film in the Back to the Future trilogy.
I guess my thoughts on the turtles don't really matter.
Not in this Western front. They do not. So how you Cowboys doing? How you city slickers feeling? How your boots? Do you have a snake in it?
That's right. Now you're mixing metaphors here.
No,
I'm out. I'm spent. I don't have any more.
I actually have manure in mine.
What was your comment?
Always in the poo.
Always in the poo.
Buford.
The second it happened, I started laughing, not because it was funny, just because always in the poo.
Buford's always in the poo. How you guys doing? What's going on? What's new? Nothing?
Not much, nah.
Yeah.
Just a lot of Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's a good thing. One of these rewatches, it's actually a good thing.
Yeah, shockingly, I thought that this movie, I think in the last episode, I was like not looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was better than I remember.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, it's like I said it when I saw you at Quizzo on Monday, Bob. It's better than I was remembering, but it's still a little bit too long.
It is too long, but we can get to this later in the episode, but I might make the argument that it's better than 2.
I have some things to say about that. But before we get to that, when was the last time you guys sat down and watched this one specifically? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, even just watch some of it on TV.
Childhood, probably.
Yeah, definitely longer than I've seen the other
when
two.
They were on TV all the time.
Yeah.
So that's a long time ago.
I don't remember the last time I've seen this one listed as being on TV either. It's been a year for me. I watched them about this time last year. And yeah, other than that, This is like the one that I've watched the least because
Yeah, I didn't have
Definitely.
Letterboxd a year ago, so ask me in a year and I'll be able to tell you when I last watched it.
I wish we had a DeLorean so I could just jump ahead in time to February
Or a steam locomotive.
26th. Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
The options expand now.
That's true. So, Back to the Future 3, in this final chapter, Marty McFly obtains a 70-year-old message from the time traveling Dr. Emmett Brown, in which he informs Marty that he is retired to a small town in the Old West. Marty then finds out that the doc was murdered shortly after sending the letter. In order to save his friend, Marty will have to travel back in time, disentangle a love-struck doc from a local school marm, and repair the DeLorean, all while avoiding a posse of gunslingers. Released May 25th, 1990, directed by Robert Zemeckis and written by Zemeckis and Bob Gale, and it stars Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Mary Steenburgen, newcomer to the franchise, and Thomas F. Wilson once again. Budget of $40 million. It grossed $245.1 million and opened to $23 million. Rotten Tomatoes score 79% critical, 78% audience, with the synopsis saying Back to the Future Part 3 draws the trilogy to a satisfying close with a simpler, sweeter round of time travel antics. So that's kind of short and sweet to the point, and I would kind of off the top agree. This movie is a lot more fun than I remembered than Part 2. Part 2 is a bit heavy, as Marty would say, but this one is just a ton of fun, and it's just like two friends hanging out in time, where the other two movies are like they're trying to fix things, and the first one there's so much pressure with making sure Marty's family stays alive. The second one is about fixing the past, and this one's really just about getting back, saving Doc's life, but just getting back to the present.
I feel like whereas the other ones all have like things that are super time pressing.
Mm-hmm.
This one they get there, like Marty gets there and he's like, all right, we got till Monday.
Yep.
Everything else is like, oh, Marty, your life depends on everything depends on it. You got to get there in 30 seconds. This one's like, all right, so what do you want to do till Monday? Sit by the fire, hang out for a little bit. You want to go to the town fair, like hang out there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I agree with your like it's just two buddies, two guys, two bros, two dudes,
and it's very different than the other ones, and it allows for it to be, even with all the cheesiness, still a good time. It's a fun time. Agreed, it is a little bit long, but I had a fun time with it. It's better than what I remember, and it doesn't hit the same beats that I remembered from the first and the second. It doesn't, like, you get it, but if you get it, it's quick. I just remember, for whatever reason, I thought, like, he walks in and does the same thing. Oh, you're Buford Tanner, and like goes through.
It's not as completely recycled.
Yeah, like the clock tower's there, but it's not as big of a deal. It's actually a cooler version of the Times Square, like the square, the city square, and it's not just like super repetitive. So I had a really fun time with this, more than I think. I could argue it's not. I don't think it's a better movie than Part 2, but I think it's more fun.
I think I liked it better than 2. I don't think it's a better movie necessarily, but the other thing that I did with this that I didn't with the other ones, and it was just because of time, is I ended up watching it in 3 sittings.
That helps.
So it was like a half hour at one point, and then an hour, and then I kind of wrapped it up at different times.
I think that very much helps.
It doesn't make it feel as long.
I did it as a double feature on a Sunday night but I was doing other things while I watched this one, and I think that I don't know, maybe that helped. I don't know, but I give it the same rating I did last year.
I rated it the same as 2 as well. Yeah. Like I feel like they're kind of equal, but for different reasons.
Yeah, Shane, what about you? You haven't weighed in yet.
I mean, I don't think it's a better movie than 2, but I think if I was going to rewatch one now, I think I'd pick 3 over 2.
Yeah. A lot of shit happens in 2. Like a lot of stuff happens in 2.
And 2's kind of like there's always something going on, and it's like this timeline's interfering with this timeline and all this. And you're like, all right, like I just want to see some cool hoverboard shit. But in this, it's just like, hey, look, the Old West. Look how cool it is.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so like my second note that I made for this movie, and at that point they're in the mine, so they're still in
Oh wow.
1955 looking for the DeLorean. And I said I'm already 10 times more invested in that movie, like in this movie, than I was by the time they'd hit 2015 in two.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was like bored in two. I was like, whatever, like get out of this out. This is like overkill for me. They put a headlamp on Copernicus, and I'm like, hey, this is it. This is what I want.
I think it's interesting too because we talked a lot in the last episode about the ending to two kind of killing the momentum for three, and I would agree. Like this one kind of just starts. Like it's not like it reminds you of what happened, but then it kind of just like slowly goes into it. It's not like two where it's like Marty, we gotta go. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like he hands Doc his own letter, and Doc gets choked up at his
This
own
has like
writing,
more
which
of a
is very
plot.
funny to me. Yeah, yeah. There's
Like
more
it's
of like a
standalone plot, I should say. Whereas like
the plot doesn't unfold
one
as
goes
for
right
sure.
into two, and it's like one long movie, which this still is. Like you could easily watch all three of them, and it doesn't really miss a beat. But like, because I guess because two ends the way it does,
Mhm.
you know what's coming here, so there's not like this urgency to be like, oh, how are they going to get out of this one? Like he's going to go see Doc.
Yeah, I mean, we literally got a trailer
Yeah.
force fed to us at the end of two. There was like no way to avoid it. Like you know what's going to happen in part three. But it starts off like I said. I just found it very funny that I didn't remember this scene. Doc's reading his own letter to Marty, and he's getting emotional at his writing. He's like, "Oh, that's beautiful," and whatever. I thought that very funny. And then killed over $80 was funny. But yeah, it kind of is just like Marty decides that he needs to go back to he needs to get home, but he wants to go back to the past to save Doc, um, and then figure out from
Well,
there
because he
how to
sees the
get back.
tombstone.
Yes, yeah, it's because he sees the tombstone. That's correct. Because he finds out that Doc's dead
Yeah.
and was killed literally a week after he sent that letter to Marty. So yeah, I mean that's kind of just the setup for the movie. I think it looks really good. Um, so then we start getting into the whole. All right, now he's getting back to the past. The scene in the uh, where he finally drives the DeLorean and he crashes through the. It's supposed to look like he's crashing through the wall. Is just set up to have actual like cowboys and Indians. Um,
Native Americans. This movie should be canceled immediately for the
yeah,
record.
that's true.
Call them Indians the entire time.
That's
Oh,
true.
there's
Cowboys and Native Americans.
Yeah.
I wrote down a line that one of the guys says in the bar. It
I wrote
is
Indians canceled immediately, and then I stopped paying attention to them. But you could probably
well,
get some good ones. They call them
the
Indians
one
at one point.
the one
Yeah,
line he walks into the tavern and the guy goes, oh, must have got that shirt off a dead Chinese.
he does. That's right. So, fun fact: those three guys are all former Western stars.
Okay.
I knew I recognized the one guy just because he
Because
just
you're a
looked
huge Western
Because
fan.
you
yeah,
love
yeah.
westerns. Yeah.
He just looked really familiar. But those three are my favorite part of the movie, pretty much.
Yeah, it
They
was
were cracking me up.
There's Pat Buttram, Harry Carey Jr., and Dub Taylor, which are three veteran Western actors. And the one guy's voice is pretty great. Um,
That's the guy that said it, I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
I like the guy
So
that shits on running for fun
yeah,
later in the movie.
that is a great quote.
Yeah.
So
I wrote that, and then that whole sequence with the wake up juice. I want that as well. Those are things that I want from this movie.
so the wake up juice when we got together to record the first one and I made the fusion fizz or whatever. The wake up juice was the kind of the only drink that popped up and I was like, so I have a recipe for it.
Is it just gross, or is it like is it like a mixed drink? Wake up juice.
It Tabasco sauce is involved, so I think it's more of
Is it like a Bloody Mary? I
like a
guess.
Bloody Mary. Yes. So some fun facts about the production before we dive a little bit further into the movie. So the idea, I said this in the last episode, but the idea for the West came from Michael J. Fox. So while filming the first one, Zemeckis asked where he would want to visit, and he replied he would go to the Old West to meet cowboys. So Zemeckis and Gale ran with that idea. They said the hardest part for Zemeckis was editing part two while still filming part three because they filmed these back to back. I don't know if we talked about that on the last episode or not. So he would literally finish filming for the day, board a plane in Burbank, California, and meet Gail and the sound engineers. So he would board a plane to Burbank from wherever they filmed this. I guess they filmed this in Hollywood, like near Hollywood.
In the Wild West.
Yeah, obviously in the Wild West. Sorry, that was
They
foolish.
filmed this in 1885. This
They
isn't
had
not
an actual DeLorean time machine. So then he would meet Gail and the sound engineers, where they would greet him and they would have dinner and then go over the shoots from that were completed that day, and then make changes where needed on part two. And then he would stay in Burbank, drive to the airport, and they would fly him back to Northern California to continue filming. And he said this went on for 3 weeks. So he did this every day for 3 weeks. Newcomer Mary Steenburgen was originally refused to do the movie, but then her children pleaded with her to do it. And since they were fans of the first movie, like most of us, and so that's the only
thought
reason.
she was better than Back to the Future.
I mean, she's pretty good. She's a pretty talented actress, but I guess I don't know. She
What do you
didn't
know
want
her
to do a
from?
western.
What do you know her from, RP?
Steel Magnolias, right? Fried Green Tomatoes, Step Brothers.
Step Brothers.
It's Step
Yeah, but
Brothers.
she's in like other shit. So then, so the mayor of Hill Valley obviously wasn't Goldie Wilson, but Zemeckis wanted Ronald Reagan to play the mayor of Hill Valley in the past. Since
It was like 2 years after he was not
he was finishing up his second term.
president anymore.
Yeah, he was finishing up his second term, and in the past,
it's current president Ronald Reagan. He wanted to play.
yeah. And he had appeared in westerns during the early stages of his acting career. So he was like, hey, why not come back and do it? Obviously, he declined. Biff wanted to do all his own stunts. And then something also about the stunts is that when they heard that they were doing a western, all of the stuntmen in Hollywood wanted to be a part of this movie because they were going to be like a lot of like natural traditional stunts. So it became a very big idea. And then the filming only paused twice, and both on Michael J. Fox occasions. His dad passed, and his son was born. And so this is pretty interesting too. So obviously we know Alan Silvestri returned to compose the score, continuing his collaboration with Robert Zemeckis. So rather than dictate how the music should sound, Zemeckis directed Silvestri as he would an actor, seeking to evoke emotion and treating every piece of music like a character. So the musicians of the Old West style band in the film were also played by ZZ Top, and so I found that pretty interesting. The directing of a composer like he would an actor is strange, but what do I know? I didn't make a trilogy of movies.
Yeah, I'm not Bob Zemeckis. You know.
Oh, you call him Bob?
I never wrote Forrest Gump.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's made some actual like shit recently too. He did the movie Here with
that one with Tom Hanks. I would like to watch
the one from where the camera doesn't move. Yeah.
Yes, where they're just in the same location for like all of history.
Yeah, they just everything's told from the same point of view.
Oh, I forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah, he did the
Sign me up.
He did the live action Pinocchio for Disney Plus. He did Welcome
I
to
heard that was
Marwen.
awful.
Yeah, it's bad. He did Welcome to Marwen. He's more intrigued by the technology than necessarily telling a good movie. But that's, when you do stuff like this, you can just fuck around for the last half of your career. Like, who's the guy he was in Conclave and he was in Daddy's Home 2? John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. Daddy's Home 2, not the
Lord Farquaad.
Who's the guy from Footloose?
He's in Footloose?
Yeah, he's the mean town. He's the mean guy in the town. He doesn't want him dancing.
Oh, just like Buford Tannen?
Yes.
No, he does want people dancing.
Yeah.
Is Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, that's right. That is him. I forgot. But yeah, that's kind of like all the background information that I found interesting about the movie. We can kind of just go through and just discuss maybe some things you didn't remember about the movie or that really popped out to you. Like Maggie McFly looking like his mother makes absolutely zero sense, other than just a reason to bring Leah Thompson back.
What are you, a genealogist?
I actually made a note on that. Because then Michael J. Fox is playing his ancestor. So his ancestor is married to somebody that looks like his mom's ancestor. I thought that was really weird.
Yes, it
I guess
doesn't.
because Crispin Glover was being a fucking weirdo, they probably would have had him be that part, maybe.
Who
It,
knows?
I assumed he would have been Martin McFly or whatever
Yeah, I thought that was a strange.
his great great grandfather. Uh,
Yeah,
I assume that's the only reason, and they wanted to bring Leah Thompson back.
I'll tell you what they could have done, but they didn't, casting wise. They
Oh,
could have included Billy Zane, and they didn't. And so I'm gonna shut this thing off from Jump Street when I
Billy
saw the
Zane would
credits.
make a really
Billy
cool
Zane.
cowboy. So that kind of stinks that he's not in this.
So I'm just saying, you almost lost me for this episode when I saw no Billy Zane, but
oh,
I was strong.
it
You
took
know,
me a second. I had to Google who Billy Zane was because the name was not clicking in my head.
Billy Zane, bad guy in Titanic.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
friend
he
Billy
should have.
Zane from Zoolander. I think they might be the only things I know Billy Zane from. Titanic and in Zoolander, he says, "Hey, listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a smart guy."
Yeah, that's right. That's
It's
right.
just Billy Zane being like, "Hey, I don't think you want to walk off against this guy."
I just didn't remember that. That's what I said. That's his name. It makes me think of the wrestler. Who's the
Oh,
wrestler?
Billy Zane also the Phantom. Is it just the Phantom? There's like a weird old superhero movie that Billy Zane is in.
It might be the Phantom. And you guys got any like scenes you want to call out, or things that like didn't make sense to you, or that you really liked?
I got
Um,
some notes, if we'd like. This is what I talked about on the first episode, where you see Michael J. Fox running and like limping,
mhm.
which was apparently like him early side effects of the Parkinson's. I don't know if they knew it was Parkinson's at the time or if it was just like he was dealing with like weird ailments.
Oh,
But that's why he's like limping and he's running. And then when he's still in his Chinaman suit, um,
yeah.
the big thing for me, I think, was just Emmett and Claire were like super horny,
They were. They
like
were.
real horny old people.
All it took was her to like Jules Verne and had him going bananas over the booty.
They were kind of horny before that.
Yeah, they were. They
Like
were.
every time they talked, it was like, dude, just get a room.
Because he ruined the it's supposed to be the whatever her name. What's her last name?
Clayton,
The
Clayton, Clayton Gorge or whatever, Clayton Ravine, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh no, that infernal time machine!" And then he's just like, "Nah, I'm still gonna do
He's
it."
like,
He's
yeah,
like, yeah,
now,
but then he hit, and then he's like, all right,
yeah.
I like that time machine now.
I
He's
want to
like,
hit it and I want to get back in this time machine so I can hit it for the first time again.
just constantly hit it for the first
Nice,
time.
damn.
But then,
Damn, I bet you're a dog.
yeah, then you're just running a train on her with just
Yeah,
multiple
just you.
versions of
multiple of you did.
you.
All right,
Uh,
so let's cast the porn that we're gonna make.
well, it's all played by Ron Jeremy.
No, it's all
Doctor,
played by
remember?
Billy Zane. Actually, we got him
Oh,
back. This is
got
his
it.
time to shine.
Yeah, I like the check your metal. I just like I don't really have like a much to like critique the movie
Yeah,
about.
I have a couple big things I
Yeah,
can
I have
hit
a couple
right away.
fun lines. That's about it.
One, I don't like that Strickland does not call anybody a slacker.
Yeah, that was a big disappointment.
Big miss. I know that slacker probably doesn't fit when he's like the town marshal or whatever,
Hmm.
but you even like Buford and them go away, and he's like, "Yeah, son, remember that discipline."
Hmm.
You could have just been like, "Hey, yeah, remember that, son, discipline. Don't be a slacker." Like I just wanted him to say it one more time, and I was kind of pissed about that. Um, then there's like two other things that just didn't really.
I like the check your metal at the door when they were like heading into the dance and they all did.
Yeah,
It's like a
town
hell of
hall
a coat check. Just hand over your guns.
and over your guns. Which,
Um,
speaking of guns, like Marty sleeps on his gun at one point. I feel like that's not safe.
no, it's not safe at
I
all.
don't think they teach that.
He also continues to wear the hat that has a bullet in it. Doc does. That has a bullet hole in it. He continues to wear that. And I'm like,
I think it's for sentimental reasons. That's the hat he first porked Clara in.
he's a gentleman. He didn't take his hat off.
Yeah, his hat or socks. Those are the two things that stayed on the whole time.
I had one note from more the beginning of the movie. They're sending Marty back to stop Doc from getting shot. Doc has a gigantic revolver and does not send Marty back with it. Because when he fires it up, like it's not a starter pistol.
Oh,
He
yeah,
fires an
yeah.
actual gun up in the air to like have Marty drive the DeLorean to go back in time. Give
They
him
didn't
that
even
fucking gun.
They didn't even pay attention to that.
Give him that
And
fucking gun.
that's actually like
I was like, hold on a second.
it's,
You're
it's
just gonna hang
borderline.
on to that?
It's borderline fucked up for him to use the gun that Marty should have.
Yeah, like
Also, like Doc sets him up for failure because Doc is apparently a huge Western, like loves the Wild West, but then sends him back in those clothing. So it's like, why are you actually a fan of the West? Like Doc's smart.
Is he?
Yeah, he's smart. He had his
Just
head on the
saying, based on the things we just said, is he?
well. That 1955 version wasn't fully.
1955 is like not fully cooked Doc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like he's getting there, but he's got some issues.
Yeah, he does.
I do have one scene that stood out to me. I'll tell a quick story here. When Doc blows the train whistle, he's like, I
Oh,
always wanted to do that.
it's the pure joy on his face when he
So
blows the whistle is awesome.
so
I made a note of it. The pure joy on Doc's face.
that's real joy. I experienced this literally like 2 weeks ago, and like this is so we were going to the Eagles parade. This is gonna like date the episode, but that's fine because I haven't told. I forgot. I realized I haven't told either of you the story yet. We're driving down to the Eagles parade. It's me, Buster, who's been on the show, and his wife,
Mhm.
right? And so we're driving down, and we're on 95. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and we see a trash truck, and I just say to Buster's wife, "Hey, get that guy to honk his like to blow his horn." But just being a child, it's the Eagles parade. There's no rules. So this is funny. Get that guy to blow his horn. So on 95, she like leans out the window and is like doing the horn thing to this trash truck. It's 18 degrees. Like
Yeah.
she goes out and then she's like, all right, it's too cold. She comes back in. Dude doesn't blow his horn. She gets back in the car. We start to roll the window up and you just hear, "Meow, meow." And like the pure excitement that I experienced in that moment is just unmatched. Like I was so happy. I don't think I've had that like since. I think that's a high I'm chasing. Except for then, after like we were just all giddy in the car that we had made this dude honk his horn. The rest of that day, they used the trash trucks to like block streets and stuff. Every trash truck we saw, we'd be like honk the horn, and they all were doing it, and we're just like, yeah. Well, I'm 35 years old. Like that's not normal behavior. But
Nice.
also, I feel like it made the trash trucks drivers' day too.
Yeah, hey, it's there's
Like
there's no age limit on fun.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Doc did that, and I was like, dude, that's my next goal.
He legit looked.
I like to think
excited.
maybe that wasn't scripted.
Yeah,
He like maybe he didn't think it was actually gonna make a noise, and he's like, oh whoa wow that was cool.
Yeah, that's the way it felt. Anyway, that's because I made it. I was like, he looks like he's having too good of a time. But the entire movie looked like they were just having fun while filming it. I mean, you don't really hear that many stories unless you go out of your way
yeah.
to like.
Oh,
find
next
a guy
time
like
you're
that.
next time you're on like on the road, you see a truck or somebody who has one of those horns, ask him to honk it. Just feel what he felt.
And
You don't have
slap,
to be the one to pull the horn to get that joy.
and slap a previously recorded sticker on the trash truck.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really
Could have bought
like,
extra stickers just to start slapping on trucks.
we're gonna slap him, slam a shake.
We were gonna do
And
magnets at one point. We never bought them.
they're pricey to just be throwing them on random cars.
Yeah, but it's that time of the year. People are gonna start getting shammied anyway. So
Yep,
maybe give a
time for
magnet
him to
after.
get shammied. Katie got shammied today.
She did get shammied.
Yeah.
We just bought them though. Nobody threw them at us.
Well, that's
that's
actually what
always-
happened when RP and I were gonna shammy people.
Yeah, that's
That's how that whole thing started. We waited in a drive-through for about 45 minutes.
Just slamming them on people's
Just
windshield. If you slammy somebody, apologize,
you need to say you're sorry and you move on with your life.
and then remember to rate, like, and subscribe 5 stars. And then the other scene that I really thought was funny was when Marty's getting measured for his casket. I actually found that very
Like
funny.
against his will.
Yeah. found
I
that
don't want
very-
the suit. This isn't for the suit, bud.
Yeah. And then I think they just once again do a great job of building tension at the end. Like, what's going to happen, but with the train, everything there, like there was actual tension. Like I stopped everything I was doing. Obviously for the ending, I was sitting down, like fully paying attention, but they had their hooks in me. They had their meat hooks in me. And I thought it was awesome. And the way he goes back and then just everything with the train was really cool, really well done. But there's like not much to really say about it after we've said so much about part 1 and part 2. Like in my opinion, there's a lot of fun beats, there's a lot of funny moments, and just an overall like really fucking good time. Like you're supposed to have with these movies.
They
I have a
they
question.
did a wait. What's up?
What were you gonna say, Shane?
I was gonna say they did a catchphrase swap in this one. At
Oh,
one
yeah.
point, Marty goes, "Great Scott," and then Doc goes, "I know this is heavy."
Yeah, I know. When he said that, I loved it.
I like that a lot.
And Marty did grow and didn't get upset when someone
Yeah,
called him a
he
chicken.
wasn't a coward this time
He
around.
wasn't a
No,
yeller.
Also,
he
I
was in
would have
yellow.
heard into that Rolls Royce. I'm like, where are Rolls Royces just fucking coming out of random like
Developments.
side streets?
It's the 80s, man.
Seemed expensive. Seemed like they didn't need to buy a Rolls Royce for this film.
Just write it off.
Yeah, it's just fucking make it a DeLorean. You already had one in stock. So my one question was the ending of the film, like the ending, the resolution. What were your thoughts?
The
Last 10 minutes.
paper. It says nothing. I hated that.
Yeah, I feel like it makes sense, but it's very anticlimactic, and I don't think I liked it very much.
Because I forgot that was what they were referring to was Marty getting fired.
He gets
like,
into the accident, and then he becomes just like a loser because he can't work normal jobs.
yeah.
It's kind of a weird move to carry that over from the second movie.
When you wake up, Jennifer, now you have this thing that happened like 2 hours earlier.
Well, that's where
And
he
then
left
even
her.
when Doc
That's
comes
where
back,
but that's where he left her.
I know. It's just like it's not something that had been mentioned ever since. So it's almost like if you watched the second one when it came out in theaters and then watched this a year later, like we watched them 2 weeks apart, and I was like, yeah, that's right, that happened.
Yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't like I didn't care. I was just maybe
It's
because
2015. I didn't care what happened in 2015.
yeah, because like all the stressful, quote unquote, like stressful things, you kind of just completely forget about when you're in the West.
Yeah, well,
Like a good
that's
old
that's the way
cowboy.
the West is. They call it the Wild Wild West. It's probably more like the relaxing and chill West.
Yeah, I mean people are dying a lot, but over like
People are dying everywhere.
that's true. That's true.
Moment of silence to the people who are dying. But anyway, I got some other questions for you guys.
But then the time machine train is fucking cool.
It is
I've
cool, but
always
even
liked
Doc
it.
coming back, it's like, hey, we're doing fine. Just wanted to give you this picture.
Mhm.
See you later.
Yeah,
That's kind of like abrupt.
and we needed a happy ending. But
I
yeah,
just,
it's like he put all
I
that
agree.
effort.
That's what I'm saying. It all makes sense, but it was just kind of like, oh, all right, that's it. We're done.
It
How
runs
many?
on steam.
I'm just wondering how many people saw that fucking train float in the air and just disappear. Didn't look like they were in like a remote part of the track.
If you saw that, what would you think?
I'd be like,
I would,
there's a methane leak somewhere.
Because
because like when Marty comes back right before the train hits him, there's cars like waving at him, like, yo, get off the track.
Mhm.
And then like his car gets demolished. Do they just like leave? Or are they just like, yeah, whatever. I'm sure he's fine.
Well, I saw him survive.
Yeah, I'm just nitpicking like usual.
Yeah, I know. But it's like also to be fair, they build it up because there's the path and then there's brick walls. So they couldn't see where he came from just when he was passing. That's it. So
Yeah, Shane, you idiot.
yeah, they wrote themselves out of that corner, Shane.
Yeah. You try again. You failed there. You're gonna
Um
attack the Bobs? Think the Bobs have a plot hole? Not today.
not today. So did you guys but Bob, to answer your question, other than kind of the weirdness of the ending and kind of being abrupt, did you like that this is how these trilogies end? I think that
I think that's right. Like I think it makes sense, and it kind of just like it puts a bow on it. We're not doing anything more with this. We don't need to do anything more with this. Everything is settled. So that by that logic, like I get it.
Mhm.
It just feels like after 3 movies of like, whoa, to then be like, yeah, it runs on Steam. Everything's good. See you later, Marty. All right, Doc, have a good one. Hey, Jennifer, you want to go get something to eat? It's like, well, that was like anticlimactic.
Yeah, like we don't want to talk about our future at all that we saw. Shane, what about you?
Different now. You make your own future.
That's
Doc gave us the
I
inspiration.
see. That's what I love because there's two full movies where Doc is like, you cannot fuck with the future, and then he literally fucks the past, like in the past, and now he's like, okay, things are fine. Like you can.
Turns out you can do whatever you want.
Time is malleable. That's what he's saying. Time is malleable as long as you find the badootie.
I know I'm fine with with Doc getting that kind of ending, even though it literally goes against everything that they said the last three movies of ruining the time stream and all this.
That's
Like,
why I feel like we
how
get
do you
the.
fuck up the time stream more than going into the past and having kids that aren't supposed to exist?
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Jules and Vern.
Yeah, that was cheesy, but also it's just that's what I mean. Like this movie is such a different vibe. They're just like, yeah, everything we set up in the first two, forget about it.
They're like, yeah, who cares? Like in the first one, if he meets his parents, Doc's like, oh, the universe is gonna explode. In
Hmm.
this one, he's just like, yeah, fuck this lady from 1885.
Yeah, you can't see your parents, but if Clara shows up, she's gonna get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, all bets are off.
she's gonna see my Smith and Western, if you know what
Yeah,
I mean.
seriously. I'm gonna give her a flux capacitor.
Yeah, she'll get a real dick down.
All right, I was ready to go for a while.
Um, yeah, I don't know. So where would you want to see? Do you want to see anything else with? Would you ever, at this point, want to see it be remade, see it continued, or seeing things done in a different capacity that continue the story, but doesn't? I I don't want to say it doesn't take away or anything. Would you want to see their story continued in some fashion, whether it's video game, cartoon, animated movie, anything? What do you
Give
guys
me a
have with?
fourth movie where they have to go back to medieval times and fight in the Crusades. I want to see a knight in a full suit of armor get the armor full of manure, just
Okay.
for
Yeah,
last doo doo bit.
yeah. Uh, Biff a lot. I don't know. Yeah, well, how do you change
Sir
his
Biff a
name? What's
lot,
he
probably Sir
become?
Biff a lot.
Sir Biff a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah.
but he's not a sir. He's not a knight. He's like a scumbag. He's like, nah, manure in my face.
As soon as if somebody does something that's shitty or like is like a dick, I'm just gonna start calling them a biff. You're such a
Yeah,
biff.
stop being such a
Yeah,
biffer.
fucking such a
Yeah,
Biff,
you
dude.
really
Tom
biff.
Wilson, and
Really biff
I'll just
that.
send you guys the video. Tom Wilson,
Is it the
and
song?
Thomas F.
I'm talking about
Wilson, whatever he goes.
his stand up.
Did you see the song?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Did you
He's
send
got
me?
like he's got like a one man show or something, right?
But here it's like a song about all the questions that people ask him about Back to the Future.
Yeah, he's like, was
Yeah.
it real manure? No.
Yeah.
How was Crispin Glover? Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Accurate.
Bob, what about you?
I don't really want anything because it's not going to have Michael J. Fox. And for me, like Back to the Future is Marty McFly, it is Michael J. Fox. And so like this is one of those things where I'm just like, don't touch it.
Hmm.
Like that, there's the comic. I read the comic. I don't remember too much about it. The cartoon, whatever. Yeah, like you could do those things that they would probably become canon. But like as far as like a movie goes, like I don't want another movie.
Yeah, me
The
either.
only time, the only reason I would want that at this point is like old Michael J. Fox is like becomes like the Doc Brown type character, and it's not gonna happen. So
No,
like,
it's not. That would be really nice. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't want another movie. I'll take that. Apparently, there's a new video game in development. There's been video games in the past. There's a Telltale series that uh, covers the one of the comic books. There's a comic book called Back to the Future Citizen Brown. It's a five like issue story.
I didn't read it. I know of Citizen Brown.
Yeah, so that game retells that. There was a 25 issue comic book, a Transformers crossover comic book, as well as a Biff to the Future comic book. So that's all fun with me. I read the main storyline for a little bit, and then
I think I read the comic for honestly like 3 issues.
because it was originally supposed to be just a 4 issue miniseries, and then they expanded on it.
And maybe I read the 4 issues
Yeah.
then.
So to your guys' point, Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis both said they will never make a fourth movie or allow a reboot to be made. They fully own the rights to the film, but they did say that the Back to the Future musical that was made is about as close to anything you're going to get, which I had the pleasure of seeing last year on Broadway. I loved it. I loved the music. I know some people are kind of wish-washy about it, but it was a great time. The guy who played Marty was great, and then Doc Brown was played by I'm blanking on his. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. He voiced Hercules. Hercules's singing voice.
Donnie Osmond?
No,
Not Dunhouse.
Oh,
That's I'll Make a Man Out of You. I'm confusing my Disney stars.
Roger Bart,
Roger Bart.
who's been in. He's had small roles here and there. I think he was on Gilmore Girls. I think an episode of How I Met Your Mother. But he was amazing as Doc. He kind of made Doc his own while also doing a little bit of an impression. And it was really fun. There's a documentary coming out about the making of the musical too. So, but obviously, everything that's done in the musical is just a retelling of the movie, just done in a different capacity. The DeLorean is freaking awesome, but that show closed on Broadway. And then there was a cartoon that ran for 2 seasons, consisting of 26 episodes total. And it picks up right after the third movie, and it focuses primarily on Doc's family after they move back to Hill Valley. So it's Doc, Clara, Jules, and Vern. Um, Dan Castellaneta from The Simpsons and a couple other things, obviously. He voiced Doc, but Mary Steenburgen and Thomas F. Wilson did come back to voice Clara and Biff. Um, and then the only other spinoff that they kind of
It
had
also
too.
released like 1991. It's like right after the movies
Yep.
came.
Yes. Yeah. It was right after the movies came out. It aired on, I think, Fox. Um, I've never seen it. There's like 2 episodes on the set I have for the movies, but I've never seen it. Have you guys seen the cartoon?
No.
Uh, honestly, didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, I would watch 13 episodes. That sounds kind of fun.
It's the 1991 cartoon though, so that could go either way.
True. That's true. And yeah, the only other spinoff that they've kind of had, it's not really a spinoff, but it's just things that they've done with the property is board games. We've covered one on Gateway Gamers that I didn't like.
Does the ride count?
Back to the Future ride does count. That ride is about Biff steals a DeLorean. I never got to do the ride, unfortunately. And now it's the Simpsons ride. It's been that for
Yeah, it's changed. It
20
changed a long
years, I
time.
think. But you can watch a ride through on YouTube or on the Blu-ray set. So that's kind of it. There's no plans for a sequel, a spinoff. The only thing coming down the Back to the Future pipeline, Bob Gale's still milking the shit out of that, is the video game. So I don't really know what that entails. It was kind of just recently announced.
Yeah, what the hell would the game be?
You could,
Unless it's based off the third and it's like set in the Old West and it's like a
Oh, you could do
shooter
a
type
game.
game. Like,
so
You
there
could do a
was
game where it's like you're Marty, and it's just like mission, like you're just
you're
like
doing shit with the DeLorean.
open world doing like weird, like stuff.
like, like different shit, not following the plot of the movie. You're
Yeah,
saying,
just anything time
okay?
related.
Yeah,
Because
they could
following
make
the
a
plot of
new
the movie, that would be an awful game. But I guess if you're just
Go
like
talk
open
to your
world,
mom. Don't let her kiss you.
Yeah, but you also play
I would
the.
fail.
I don't know, Shane. You play the power washing game, which sounds like a terrible game, but you seem to have a good time
Hey,
playing it.
I played that like one time, and
Nick
then
put
I was
19
mad.
hours.
I was mad that it was free the next day.
Nick's put a lot of time in there. He beat the game. Nick told me he
Big
beat the
Nick's
game.
Nick's starting his own business.
Yeah, producer Nick, shout out.
I have a couple things like just wrapping up the Back to the Future rewatch.
There was a game called Universal Studios, and it was like the theme park, and you could ride
Yeah.
the rides, and you could fly the DeLorean. You rode the ride, but you just fly the DeLorean. So, I mean, any opportunity to fly a DeLorean, hell yeah. Put that shit in like a racing game. If they had like a racing game that was like all like movie
Drive the
cars.
DeLorean is like a uh, DLC in every game ever. Like Mario Kart? Oh, never
Yeah,
mind. There's a DeLorean on the track. Deal with that.
that'd be awesome. It'd just be
Fucking losers.
just be four DeLoreans racing every time. So, Bob, what do you got to round out the episode?
So one thing, because I think Back to the Future, rightfully so, uh, reuses like scenes more than any movie, any sequence of movies. And I feel like there's other movies that also reuse scenes, not to the extent that this one does. But like, can you think of like, so like Back to the Future, the first one, obviously everything's standard. Then the second one, Marty's like watching his own scene from the first one in the back. The Doc sends Marty back in time, back to the future in the first one in 1955. Then in this one, that same like celebration of Doc, Marty's like coming up. I
Yeah,
feel like I was like getting deja vu is not the right word because it was the same. But I was like, I feel like there's other movies that do similar things like this, where it's like the same things are happening, but just like from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Am I crazy, or can you like think of any?
Endgame.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's I was like losing my mind over it and I couldn't think of it. And I was gonna text you guys. I was like, I'll just wait until the episode.
That's Endgame's definitely one. I'm sure there's other movies.
Yeah, so Endgame was where when they're all going back to different timelines. Yeah, any kind of time travel thing I
Where
get.
also Scott Pym believes in the time travel guidance is just Back to the Future.
Yeah,
He's like,
right.
we won't do anything stupid. We won't talk to our past selves. Then Iron Man's like, Tony Stark's like, your guide is Back to the Future. Are you really telling me that? And he's like,
That was
no.
the one question that was just like a hey, do you guys know what is fucking happening in my brain? The other question, which is just like the standard that we've all heard and seen before. Well, there's two parts to this question, just like social media stuff. One, if you take one character out and you make the rest Muppets,
Oh yeah.
who are you
The
keeping as a human?
Doc stays.
I think you leave
I think
Marty.
Muppet Doc is kind of sick.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Muppet Doc is sick.
Doc's already kind of a Muppet
He's like
already.
half a Muppet to begin with.
Or you leave Biff. It's either Marty or
Yeah,
Biff.
Biff being real mad at Muppets is funny.
He's
Biff
fun.
trying to like force himself on Muppet.
Miss Piggy.
Yeah,
Miss
that's
Piggy would
good.
be the mom.
Well, hold on, because if Miss Pig, does that mean that George
George
is
McFly is,
Kermit?
is Kermit.
George wouldn't have to come save her because Miss Piggy would just beat the shit out of Biff.
Well, yeah, well, you changed the plot a little bit because Miss Piggy's an independent.
Well, then who's Doc? Which Muppet is Doc?
Yeah,
Sam the Eagle?
it's either Sam the Eagle or it's Beaker.
Beep.
Yeah, just he doesn't talk the whole time. He's got the same hair.
Professor Honeydew. You need that like bolt of like like
Some,
excitement. And
some combo between the two of them.
Yeah, maybe they're both.
It's probably Gonzo, if I'm being honest.
Gonzo probably is Doc.
Probably Gonzo.
And Einstein would be a chicken because Gonzo fucks chickens. That's legit. That
Or
is
could Einstein be Rizzo
Well,
the
then
Rat?
wouldn't Clara be a chicken?
yeah.
And
Well,
then Rizzo would be Einstein.
Or
Gonzo dates
could
chickens.
Clara be Rizzo in like a dress?
Yeah, that's good too. I
That's
like
very good.
anything where Rizzo is really just
I would
awkward.
make Marty
I think
McFly
Principal
Rizzo.
Strickland is Sam the Eagle.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would make more sense.
Yeah, I feel like Kermit being Marty is the obvious choice, but I think Rizzo would really crush it as Marty.
And I think you would have to make. I couldn't see Kermit as
It's George.
as George McFly, but more like Fozzie.
Fozzie's got it, yeah. So Fozzie is George.
Kermit
Yeah.
could be like Martin
Kermit
McFly in
is
the third
Kermit is
movie.
Yeah,
I just like if Kermit's Marty, which we already said maybe he's not, but either way, if Rizzo is Marty and Fozzie is George, there's just some weird animal shit that like doesn't make sense.
that's funnier though.
Yeah,
I love Rizzo. Rizzo gets put in a corner. Rizzo
because
the
Rizzo
Rat.
is absolute dynamite in Muppet Christmas Carol.
Uh-huh. He also in Muppets 3D in the theme park, which is closing soon. That's a travesty. But he's part of the pre-show and he comes out dressed as Mickey Mouse and he's like, "Hello, I'm Mickey Mouse. Welcome to my park." And it's just so funny, like the little things they use him for. He's great in
Why
that, and like the Muppet Treasure Island. I think he has a little
He
scene
is
why are there
Treasure,
not
Treasure
like
Island.
100 more of these movies that we're talking about? Like, why
because
are the Muppets so
Disney
underused?
because Disney doesn't know what the fuck to do with them and doesn't realize that there's a huge audience out there for the Muppets.
Let Jason Segel make like a dozen more.
He
Like,
doesn't
I
want
don't
to.
understand. Why are there no more Muppet movies?
They don't want to.
I don't get it.
Jason Segel made a Muppet movie after he put his dick out there, so it's just like,
So,
uh,
long story short, we need more Seagull dick
yeah, and more Muppets.
in order to get more Muppets. It's the only natural trade-off that we're going to find.
Yeah.
For
So
every-
who's our Marty? Who's our Marty? If it's a Muppet, are we all agreed that Biff is who stays and the
I
rest are
like
Muppets?
Biff staying. I'm a big fan of Biff staying.
Yeah.
And also every variation of Biff. Griff, also Biff.
Yeah. So yeah. Every variation.
Buford stays, yeah.
So then Doc is played by Gonzo.
Doc might be Gonzo might be Marty.
But then who's Doc?
Kermit.
No, Kermit's
Doc.
too. I would rather
I feel like
Kermit
And then
be
Miss Piggy
Marty.
shows up in 3.
I feel like Fozzie Bear could be a good Doc too, though, because he's like,
No,
you know,
Waka Waka.
yeah, he's got whimsy.
I feel like Gonzo's just got that spirit, and Kermit,
Chutzpah.
like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like none of them have like the Riz for Marty,
Other than Rizzo.
other than Rizzo the Rat. So I think Rizzo and Gonzo are Doc and Marty,
Yeah, Rizzo Gonzo, a good combo.
and then Clara's played by Chicken, and
And then
What's Kermit's role? We going to Kermitless Muppet movie?
could
Classic.
Kermit be George?
We just keep him as
he would
George
he would have to be. He would
and
have to
she's
be
Miss
George.
Piggy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would see that movie. That's
Who's
what I
Jennifer?
want.
You know what would be great?
What Muppet character
Muppet.
was created and then completely forgotten about?
You know, it would be great. Muppet Back to the Future 3. And who are the old guys that are up in the?
Statler and Waldorf.
They're the 3 guys in the saloon.
Yeah, that would rule.
That'd be great.
Who what role does Animal play?
Griff.
No, Griff is still Thomas Wilson.
Billy Zane.
Oh,
Billy
right.
Zane. Nice. Yeah. And then we gotta force Billy Zane back into the 3rd one.
Yeah, but then is it Electric Mayhem, the band?
Yeah.
They would be the band from the first movie.
And
What?
ZZ Top in the last movie. Yeah, they
Yeah.
just take on any musical role.
Yeah. Well,
All
what's
right,
this?
Disney, I know you fucks are listening.
They
Get on it.
talk about wasting a property. They are wasting a property. But
I have one more social media
oh.
thing.
Oh,
This one, arguably, this is a quicker hitter. But I figured, we're wrapping up. Let's have some fun with the Back to the Future movie. We've seen the thing where like a PG-13 movie gets one F word.
yeah.
Ooh,
If
who
you
gets
could
to
put
say it?
one F word in any of the 3 films, where would you put it? We could just start letting them fly too.
What does Marty say when he jumps off the building in 2? Before Doc hits him with the door.
Talking about like when he jumps off and then the DeLorean is going to be it catches him.
Mm-hmm. Maybe where we're going, we don't need fucking roads.
Yeah, get your fucking meat hooks off her.
That one's probably the best placed one. Get your fucking meat hooks off of her. It's your cousin Marvin fucking Berry. I probably had to say that.
I feel like Biff could throw a good one in there.
Ronald Reagan?
Hey McFly, I told you to never fucking come in here. I feel like he'd really hammer that one in.
Call somebody a fucking butthead for once.
Fucking butthead.
really crazy.
Ronald Reagan, the fucking actor.
Don't be a fucking slacker.
We're sending you back to
make like a tree and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that was a little aggressive.
Yeah, I don't.
The guy that tried to force himself on somebody's a little aggressive. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the fucking Libyans.
I feel like that one. Yeah. I feel like Shane just whispered, tried to force himself on someone. Like, why did you whisper that?
My window's open. I'm not trying to yell that.
I mean,
it's a great fucking movie. You know what Doc says? Doc says, "I wish I'd never invented that fucking infernal time machine. It's caused nothing but disaster."
Doc says, and he adds, it's an ad-lib line that they add to the film. Doc just says, "I think I'm gonna fuck Clara."
You like Jules fucking Verne? Me too.
Uh-oh, Marty. I think I'm gonna fuck Clara.
What about cum? Can we just add cum?
Yeah, come instead. Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking cum.
When this thing is 88,
I should probably cut that. I probably should cut that. Whatever.
Probably, it's fine. I'm glad we heard it.
But I think that kind of wraps up our Back to the Future trilogy. I had a great time talking about these movies. Any excuse to watch them is always welcomed. I fucking love these movies. The first one is in my top 10 movies of all time, of my favorite. And yeah, I mean, they're not bad. None of them are bad. Even 3 that's like not as good is still a great time. just like talking about it with you guys. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while. I'm glad we finally did.
Yeah, it was your idea.
And the good thing about these movies is that they're all under 2 hours. So like some of the rewatches we've done, it feels a little bit like work. You're like, it's
Yeah, it gets
tedious. Like, oh my
exhausting.
God, I got to watch this fucking movie today. But this, it was just like, oh, cool. I get to watch Back to the Future now.
Yeah, I just was shocked that I think I liked 3 more than 2, which I
Yeah.
don't really remember being the case. I remember when they get to like the town dance, and also like watching the movies again, I like picked up on more things because I don't think I've watched them in full since I was a lot younger and like didn't really catch some of the things that were happening. But like I remember them going to the like the town festival thing in 3 and just being like, oh man, this is a snooze now until they get on the train, like the train stuff starts to happen. But it
Yes.
really wasn't that
No, it was fun.
like slow as much as I remembered it being at least.
Yeah, it was, and like you guys said, it was just a nice reason to rewatch the movies. Um, so I think with that, thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys had a good time. Remember to red like and subscribe. And just like Doc Brown says, I wish I never invented that infernal time machine. It's caused nothing but disaster. But I, for one, am very glad that you did, Doc. Thank you all for listening. Say goodbye.
Check out the Red Bubble show, Red website. Cut that RP. Fix it.
Keep it exactly how it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check out our Red Bubble store. There's Back to the Future merch.
Yeah,
Redbubble T Public before it comes down. Yeah.
before it gets taken down for copyright like Star Wars did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I ordered a
Yeah.
bunch. I'm waiting for it. I think it's coming next week.
Yeah. I hope it looks good. I hope it looks good. I hope it comes out clean.
I hope it looks like shit, but I bought it too. So let's go.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you later. Bye bye. Oh, the next thing we do will not be a rewatch. I promise you. We are done rewatching things for a long time. I don't know how long it was long.
Not
but-
a long time.
No, because we'll probably do something for Superman. But
Yeah, but
the next episode will not be movie, any
we're
type
gonna
of
go off the
rewatch.
grid. We're gonna go off the rails.
Yeah, we will. And make sure don't, follow speed limits.
Just
don't
like the
drive
train in Back to the Future 3. We're going off the rails.
Choo choo. And see you guys on the Western Front. I don't know.
That's
Bye.
war. That was a war reference.
Yeah, sorry.